Welcome back to Fiery Femmes, the space where ambition meets freedom, and where we talk about money, reinvention, and what it really means to build a life on your own terms. I'm your host, Sheena, and today we're diving into a hot take that might make a few people feel uncomfortable and why you shouldn't buy property. Now, before you clutch your mortgage statements, hear me out. This isn't about being anti real estate or anti wealth. It's about rethinking the scripts that we were handed. The get a stable job, buy a house, and settle down narrative, it doesn't really work for everyone these days. So, we're going to unpack the emotional, financial, and freedom costs of property ownership, especially for women who want optionality, movement, and the power in their choices. And of course, this is not financial advice. This is my own opinion from my own biases, values, experience. This is the perspective, and it's a conversation that's meant to expand on how you think about wealth and security. So grab a coffee, a tea, or a glass of wine, take a deep breath, and let's get real about why owning a home isn't the only way to feel secure. And sometimes why stop and delete that, and why sometimes not buying can be the smartest move you'll ever make. So I feel quite privileged that my friends always come to me for advice whenever they're thinking about buying their first property by themselves or buying a property with their partners or buying a second property with their husbands. I feel really honored when my friends come to me because it just makes me feel like, wow, I'm some kind of expert in their eyes. But the first one is most of the time they haven't even gone to a mortgage broker, so they don't know their numbers. If you are thinking about purchasing a real estate investment or purchasing a property to live in, please go see a broker. Even though you're not going to buy in like 3 months' time or 6 months' time, I think it's really important to know your numbers and so that you know what to expect as well. Because by seeing a mortgage broker, you will understand how much you need to save. Should you stick it out with your job? Should you move to another job before locking in a mortgage? Those kind of things. But anyway, these are the reasons why my hot take it these are the reasons why I think you shouldn't buy property just yet. Number 1, buying property has a super high barrier to entry, and getting out also takes so long. So your money is actually not liquid. So if you have saved up, let's say $200,000 to get a $2 million loan on some property, you are saying goodbye $200,000 of savings for the deposit, for the bank to take that as hostage as deposit while you're paying off your $2 million. So when property gurus, mortgage brokers, or let's say even banks say your house grew by 200,000 or your house grew by $100,000 in the last month, it doesn't necessarily mean you can use that $100,000. There's actually a lot of caveat to that. And if your equity actually grew, you need to submit paperwork and for the bank to assess whether you're suitable again to actually use that equity. So, for example, if you don't have a job, you got laid off, your partner got laid off, or your circumstances have changed and you're thinking you just want to refinance or get equity from that house, you can't actually get that $100,000. So, the number one reason why you shouldn't is you don't have liquidity in property. It is probably the most illiquid asset class. Number 2, why you shouldn't buy property. Do you know the amount of upkeep that you need to do, the amount of maintenance that you need to have with houses and property? How about the lawnmower guy or girl? How about the plumbers? How about the aircon fixes when the summer's really hot and you have to get an aircon repair? How about retaining walls? Do you know how much they cost? Yeah, the upkeep costs so much money. And it's just not the deposit that you need to worry about, but also you need to think about the legal costs, the conveyancing costs, the pest and building reports that you need to do, the stamp duty costs. Here in Australia, you have to put a certain percentage for stamp duty. I think it's 2% of the total property value. Yeah, so basically, after a $200,000 deposit that you have paid, you need to have an extra $100,000 for all the fees involved after the sale, like during, before, and after the sale. And last but not the least is it's a long-term play. Well, I actually think sometimes holding property can slow you down in wealth building. Yes, it's great to park your cash there if it's a fast growing and fast moving asset, but the systems around property is very archaic. So it doesn't move as quickly. You have to be very patient. It doesn't grow. I mean, in COVID years, it grew by like 20, 30, 40% in certain areas all over the world. But those kind of growth, that is not normal. So I think to fast track your wealth building sometimes can be a hindrance because it's not as fast moving. So, those are my three reasons as to why I think you shouldn't buy property. One, it's not liquid. Number two, the upkeep is expensive and you should account for that. And last but not the least is it's slow moving. Again, it is a high barrier to entry as an asset class, and to get out of it as well, it will also take time because it's not every day that you sell. If you want to sell this asset, you need to find the right buyers with the right finance, and a lot of things have to be crossed and ready. So I hope you enjoy this and let me know if I've actually stopped you from thinking about buying a property because I think here in Australia, it's definitely an investment class that a lot of people love talking about. I think one thing I've noticed is every time we're in a barbecue or some social gathering, someone, something, somewhere will always open up about real estate investment and property. So let me know in the comments. Feel free to reach out and talk to me about it. I love talking about property. And again, um, I feel very honored that my friends talked to me about this. So, that was my hot take on why you shouldn't buy property, or at least why you should question whether it's the right move for you. Because building wealth isn't just about assets, it's about alignment. The most powerful thing that you can own is your freedom to choose differently. If today's episode gave you something to think about, share it with a friend who's also redefining what success and security mean for her. And if you haven't already, follow Fire Femmes on Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen. We talk about money, reinvention, wellness, and designing a life that actually feels like yours. I'm Sheena, and thank you so much for spending this time with me. Remember, wealth is personal, freedom is the goal, and your version of having it all doesn't have to look like anyone else's. See you in the next episode.